Welcome, Mustang fans, and welcome to another episode of the Mustang Owners Podcast. I'm your host, John Clore, along with my co-host, Mike Ray. And whether you've known me from Auto Week magazine or the Ford Special Vehicle Team or Ford Racer or even Ford Performance, or know Mike from his days with Team Mustang, or maybe it was Roush or Celine or the Mustang Owners Club of Southeastern Michigan, we want to know you and your Mustang story. And Mike, today, if there's one guy from Ford Motor Company's illustrious careers that we could talk to about Mustang stories, it's our guest tonight, and I'm so glad you're going to get a chance to meet him.
Yeah, my first time actually talking to him, and I think our audience is in for a big treat, and I've heard nothing but great things all over the years.
Absolutely. So let's welcome Ken Dabrowski. Ken, thank you for joining us tonight on the Mustang Owners Podcast.
Yeah, very welcome. I'm pleased to be here.
Well, Ken, I was lucky enough to finally, after years and years of hearing your name, and talking to many of your retired friends at the company, we finally, unfortunately, through the passing of our good friend Hal Sperlich, got to meet and then had a couple of wonderful events back to back. And Mike, the good news is, while people get to share a little bit of Ken's knowledge on Mustang tonight on the podcast, he's going to be coming to a Moxa meeting in September and going to give us a wonderful presentation. And Mike, I'm telling you, you got to up the food ante that night. No pizza.
I think we can manage something.
We'll get Ken like an Italian sausage or something.
There you go. We can do that.
So for those of you who don't know Ken, the rumor is you started as an FPG, a college grad, coming into the assembly division, and you're the classic story of a guy, steeped in engineering and worked his way up. And I can't believe it, but even though you got into body engineering and you were a systems department manager, the cool thing was all the different positions you held in body and chassis and powertrain, electronics, all the engineering jobs you had. You wound up being the chief vehicle engineer in 1985, and then named program manager for small specialty and international cars. Of course, in 1987, of course, Ken, that was your affiliation, the strongest affiliation with Mustang, and that's where we want to pick up your wonderful life with that great car. But Ken, being named a program manager for small specialty and international cars in 1987, that was really when you were executive director of body engineering by 91. But in 87, that was really that big exposure to Mustang, wasn't it?
Yes, that was my main exposure. I mean, it wasn't my first exposure. My first exposure was with Hal Sperlich 20 years earlier, where he had the Mustang, and he and I did the Maverick car line together, the two of us. Did the product line for it. And, of course, I was involved with him on the Mustang and the Maverick. And as it turned out, I ended up reporting to him directly for 3 months.
I mean, Mike, can you imagine you start off at Ford, you go through your first iterations, one of your first managers in product planning is the iconic, the one and only Hal Sperlich, and Ken winds up working for him?
Yeah, Ken, was he a big deal, like very well known at that time, too, in 67?
He was a legend. I mean,
already? Okay. That's
he
good.
was probably the hottest property in the company at the time.
Wow. I never knew that. Did you, John? I never knew that.
No, we were of the knowledge that maybe he was, I know he hung around really tight with Mr. Iacocca, but within the company, the people I've talked to, Ken, anybody that worked with him really enjoyed him. They thought he was very insightful, and there was a wisdom about Hal Sperlich. And I think if you're going to get into planning any kind of product, any kind of work with any of the engineering stuff, I think he would have been. I couldn't figure another person you'd want to hang out with.
Oh, no. And I mean, it was all just good luck on my part that I was assigned there. And I think I told the story at Hal's funeral. I'll repeat it for you. On my first day in product planning, which was I think was in September of 67. And I'm sorry, September of 66. I was there at 6:30 in the morning because I didn't know what time it started. I don't want to be late when everybody's there. So I got there at 6:30. It was in the 5th floor of the old Ford Division building at that time. And Ford Division Product Planning and Lincoln Mercury were separate. They were different entities. The place was deserted. There wasn't anybody around. All the lights were out except for one office. So I figured, well, I'll meander over there. And I walked by the office, and oh my God, it was hell. And I was mortified that it was him. And he looked up, saw me there, and he said, "Can I help you?" I said, "I'm here, ready for work." I said, "My name is Ken Dabrowski, and I'm assigned." He didn't even know I was coming, frankly. And I said, I'm really surprised to see you here at 6:30 in the morning. I can't see anybody else. He said, "I was here all night." I said, "Oh, I see." And he said, "Look, we're ready for big work here." He said, "I'm glad you're here early to get going on the work." But he said, "First of all, I'd like you to go back there to the escalator and run up it backwards. Got to make sure you got enough energy to stay up with us here in product planning." I said, "That's not a problem. I'm 22 years old. I can handle that. There's no problem at all." So I did. I went back, ran up the escalator very quickly, and
No way.
and
Oh,
then
you did.
he
It's
gave me
crazy.
assignments to work on. And then when the people started showing up at like 8:30 or so, which was kind of the middle of the day for me, at 8:30,
Unreal.
I was assigned to like an analyst. And he said, "Well, let me introduce you around, and we'll give you something to do." I said, "I've already got an assignment." "You do? So where'd you get that?" I said, "I got it from Health Pro." And the guy went berserk. He said, "What happened?" And I told him what happened. He said, "Well, then you better work on that assignment." He said, "When you're done with that one, then we'll give you another one." Well, after the first 5 days there, Al told me, he said, "I'd like you to report to me directly during your assignment here. You and I got a lot of work to do." And for the whole 3 months, I just worked for Al. So I got a lot of exposure to Mustang, to Maverick, Torino. It was just a wonderful experience for 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, it was one hit after another, and those guys hit home runs one after. I mean, just what a product lineup you guys put together, and you look back at those times, Ken, and I know that you had the training from the best, but Mike, a lot of people that when I talk about Ken Dabrowski to people, they don't even mention. I didn't even know Ken's relationship with Al Sperlich until we were there at his memorial service. But
Right.
Ken, where you're most noted is your work in the '80s when Coletti was supposed to put the Mustang to bed, and I think the Escort was going away, and what was the Tempo Topaz?
Well,
Mike, was that the other one he said?
Yeah.
Those are all.
yeah.
And then we heard, oh, wait a minute, there's too many people in the company. They weren't buying this whole thing. Well, maybe we should have Mazda go in and just make a front drive coupe, because back then, Ken, remember, everybody had a front wheel drive Japanese coupe. That was it. And I think when we heard rumors, I was at Auto Week at the time, and Christopher Sawyer, one of my news editors, saw a spy photo of this Mazda Mustang and put the next Mustang on the cover. And oh, did we get grief? And I'm sure in the company and outside the company, you guys got grief when that word got out.
Well, I can tell you what happened. We had switched in 1986 from conventional product development, which is by chimney, by chassis engineering and powertrain and so on. We converted to program management. And I was on the team, luckily, that developed that whole program management concept. And I ended up at first with the light cars, all the light mid-sized cars for North America. And in the concept, we had profit and loss responsibility. We had full profit accountability for those car lines. I did not have the Mustang, but it was about a year later, going into '87, a colleague of my very good friend and a colleague, Tony Cookta, had the Thunderbird, which was called the MN12 at the time, the new Thunderbird that came out in '89. And he had the Mustang. And the Mustang was canceled by senior management in '87. And I was appalled when I heard that, I was not senior enough to be involved in that decision at all. But when I had heard it, I said, we can't have this. This is our strongest brand. It's the most recognized brand in the company. It's our youngest buyer. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's our youngest buyer. So I went to see Tony Cookta, and I said, Tony, you've got your hands full with this Thunderbird. You've got all you can do. He was overweight, he was overcost, and he really had a challenge in front of him. And I said, the Mustang has been canceled, which I can't understand why. But I said, why don't I take it over from you? And I'll take it with no head count. I'll just take the responsibility for the car line if it's okay with you. And you can focus on the Thunderbird. And he said, well, it's okay with me. He said, I haven't got time at all to spend on the Mustang, and it's been canceled. So I went to see our
I
boss.
Can't believe that. And now, I can't believe if Mike and I were in the same situation and I had the Thunderbird and the Mustang, and then Mike comes to me and says, hey, give me the Mustang. Mike, there'd be an arm wrestle over there somewhere. I mean, nobody lets go of the Mustang, but I know MN12 was a big program. There was, Thunderbird is iconic too. It was over budget. It was late. It was too big. It was too heavy. But Mike, can you imagine Ken Dabrowski walking in there and volunteering and then getting the Mustang? But Ken, getting that program, were you supposed to put the car to bed?
Yes. Well, I went to see our collective boss. Both Tony and I reported to Lou Baraldi, who's a wonderful executive, actually. And I told Lou, I said, look, Lou, canceling this Mustang, can you hear me now? Have you lost me? Or?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
We're good.
I said, this is the dumbest thing I ever heard of, canceling this Mustang. And I said, I've asked Tony if I can take it over, and I'll see what I can do. And he supported me. He said, okay, give it a go. So we took the car, no head count. So Tony could keep all the head count that was on the Mustang and put on the MN12, which helped him because he needed the help. He had such a challenge with that car. I felt sorry for him. So the first thing we did, we immediately went to Florida the following weekend. Took a Firebird, we took a Camaro, a Mustang, and one other car that, the Challenger didn't exist anymore. I don't remember what the other car, I think it was a Japanese car. And frankly, we were appalled at how neglected the Mustang was. People hadn't spent any money on it in 3 years. So we very quickly went to work because it was being canceled at the end of the 88 model year. The Probe was supposed to come out.
Okay.
Well, the new Mustang, the Japanese, was coming out in 89. So we came up with some very quick marketing programs, new colors, new trim schemes. We put NVH fixes on the car, some powertrain fixes, did some suspension changes, put some roll bars on it. I mean, we really put some new wheels on it, gave it some life. And all of a sudden, we made those changes as fast as we could. And the car came back to life. And in 88, it really sprung back to life because it had some appeal. Well, and by then, I also had the new Mustang coming, the Probe, and I had all the Mazda products were all my responsibility. So, and I was getting inundated at that time. Steve Saline was on his knees in my office trying to do something. I was getting hundreds of phone calls, like 10 a day, 10 or 20 a day from customers. They were asking us, are we out of our mind canceling this car? I said, well, we're working on it. Give us some time. And the real turning point was this historic management drive that we had. And we took a an 88 Mustang convertible, GT convertible. It was a white convertible with a red interior. Had the engine cold, had a dyno tested to make absolutely sure it was at the right top of the horsepower rating. Had Walker do the mufflers so they were at the top of the noise level that was acceptable by NHTSA. The car was impeccable. And we had it on the test track with the Mazda Mustang prototype, which was a hardtop, automatic, 4-cylinder, gray, kind of a drab gray color. And we scheduled the drive for Red Poling and Don Peterson. And we wanted them to experience the two Mustangs back to back. So the first one to drive was Red Poling. And he wants to take the Mazda Mustang. I said, okay. So he jumps in the car and drives it around the track. Peterson was still there with me. And Red comes back and says, boy, that's really a nice car. I said to the guys, went over. I said, boy, that didn't go very well. I said, well, how about driving the Mustang convertible now? He said, no, I don't need to do that. He said, I know what Mustangs are like, the old Mustang. And he said, I'm fine. I said, okay. So I said to Peterson, I said, well, what would you like to do? Would you like to drive the 88, the Mustang GT first? Or you want to drive the Pro? Because I'm not interested in driving that, not the Pro, not the Mustang. He said, no, I want to drive the GT. So he takes a run around the track in the GT, comes back. I said, well, you ready for that Mazda? He said, I don't need to drive that. He said, that's no Mustang. That was it. That's all it took. The next day,
Wow.
I got notice from Peterson's office. The Mazda Mustang done. Keep going with the regular Mustang. What do you have to do to keep it going for a few more years? And boy, we had a lot of work to do because it didn't meet the airbag requirements that we hadn't planned. There was no engineering for the safety requirements that were due in 1990. When they were changed, there were some emission changes, and we crashed. I mean, we did a whole set of new colors, trim, enhancements for 89, and the sales kept going up, and we got the car re-engineered for 1990. And we did all of this with no incremental headcount. We did it all with our existing small and mid-sized car group of people. So, but then it was done.
Yeah, and that's why those steering wheels, John, were bigger as well.
What's that?
The steering wheels were bigger, as you said, when it got into them, with the bigger for the airbag and stuff in the horn area.
Yeah, and got that mad mouse out of the car, and all that work, though, Ken, and Mike, consider this. I mean, the new 89, the new 489 Mustang, not being a Mustang Fox body, that car was already 10 years old, and Ken's out there with a 10-year-old chassis, trying to convince them to keep it going, to keep the Fox going until they could, come up with something else. And Ken, I don't know. I don't know if the gods were just shining upon you that you got that decision, because it sounds to me like it could have gone the other way.
Could have. If Red Poling would have been the only vote, he would have gone the other way, because he was satisfied with that car. And I mean, Red was a good guy. Wow. Man, he was an excellent executive. I don't want to take anything away from him. But that car was not a Mustang. I mean, it was a low speed, no fun to drive, just a secretarial type car. Just wasn't a Mustang at all in the heritage of that vehicle. It's no different than calling an X car General Motors a Corvette. That's in comparison. So
Mike Ray would not have been such a big Fox body fan if you didn't do that, because Mike, you just fell in love with the Fox. I was still enamored with the first gens. Then I fell in love with the second gen. I really loved the size and the fact when it had a 302 in it. I messed with that. But Mike, you just glued yourself to that Fox body, even though by then it was 15 years old.
Yeah, so I was born in 1971, so I was 8 years old when the first Fox body came out. So me growing up time, teenage years, everything was all Fox body for me. So yeah, I appreciate them much more. And like I said, I've owned 9 Mustangs. 8 of them have been Fox bodies.
Oh my gosh. So
Well, I
Ken,
have
you
one
had
Fox body.
a couple of years you had to keep it. Yeah. Yeah, but isn't that
Well,
Roush prepped
yes,
one of one?
it's a first Roush prototype, Mustang prototype that Bob Transu had built, and it's got a supercharger. It's a 5.8 stroker with a supercharger. It's got a track suspension on it. I've got it all documented, the dyno documentation. I've got the track speeds, which were a base, and also with the new Roush handling suspension. It's a phenomenal
Now, Mike, what are you going to have
improvement.
to offer? What are you going to have to offer Ken to get that one of one Roush supercharged Fox body to Mustang Memories at World Headquarters this August?
Yeah, we need that there, Ken, for sure. There was another gentleman, I think he still owns it too. I think his last name was Marsh. He's out of North Carolina, that did have a Fox body Roush that we did verify it afterwards. Like I said, I don't know if it was another prototype or test car. And then the only other one that's really tied to Roush, John, is the twin turbo that sits in the Roush Museum right now.
Yeah,
But
Ken,
I'm going to
Ken
have to
drove
get with you, Ken. I'd love to have that car at Memories this
Yes,
year. I would love to put it on special display.
absolutely,
Okay.
Ken. That's got to be at World Headquarters this August.
I can put you actually in the Roush display with the car.
Yeah, get
Okay,
Jack
well,
Jr. to go
yeah,
look at it.
They would absolutely love to have that car there, and you could tell stories about that thing all day long. I would love to make that happen.
Okay. So
Yeah, I saw it at Bay Harbor, and
we had a reprieve
and
on the
it's a
Mustang
beauty.
to
But
keep it going
yeah,
till
no, I don't
1993.
know. Right, 93 was that. But you guys had no budget. You had hardly any people. I mean, who ever expected you to come up with an all new program for 1994 with you weren't even on site.
No, that was the second phase. We had a reprieve on the Fox to take it through 93, and that was it. That because the platform was
Oh.
going away. And we engineered it, and also there were new standards coming out in 94. And the company said, we are not putting any more money in that Fox platform beyond 93. Well,
So, John, that begs me to the point right now, you know, how Fox Fest guys, they consider 94 to 04 still on Fox chassis. So how does that differ, Ken, from what you're saying?
well, we modified the Fox chassis, and we moved the assembly plant. We moved it to Flat Rock.
Okay.
When it was being built. So it was you would call much of it was Fox, but it was a hybrid. It was a new chassis.
I remember the launch,
SN95.
Ken, when you took that SN95 chassis, you put it on its side at the media launch, and you painted all the Fox body parts and all the SN95 parts, and over half of those entire underside of that car was new. You re-engineered that whole bottom of that car.
Yes.
So, Mike, that's if it's over a certain percentage, it's considered a new platform. And I remember, I think it was Mike Zevelkink was there, or Will Body, maybe.
Mike came along later. Will Body came along later. All the heavy work on that vehicle line was done by the Skunk Works, and that started about as soon as we got the engineering done for the safety and emissions requirements for the 90 Mustang. We then launched the Skunk Works, the covert Skunk Works. We were not going to let this thing die in 93. And we launched the Skunk Works with 6 people. And these
6 people.
Wow.
Yeah, that's 6 people did much of the work in that car. And there were
Mike, it sounds like the Moxham Board of Directors.
There are people who are frankly unsung heroes that not a lot of people know about who are involved with that. And what I did, which I'll tell the group on the 9th of September, I went around personally to each of the division general managers and spoke to them in confidence, the key general managers, like powertrain, transmission, body, chassis, the assembly division, and told them what I was doing. And I said, this is all covert. There's a study. I mean, we've got cover because Steve Lyons and I, on the cycle plan, we had to do something about the Dearborn assembly plant because the car was going away from Dearborn. We were shutting it down. And what do you do with the 2,000 UAW people that are there? So Steve agreed to put a footnote on the cycle plan saying we have to look at alternate studies for Dearborn. So what do we do? Well, the one alternate was to keep the Mustang going if we had nothing else. So I had coverage from the company to do something, but no authorization. So we started the Skunk Works. Neil Ressler very kindly gave me a piece of real estate in a building he was renting over on Schaefer and Rotunda. And we got people from each of the divisions. They loaned us people to work after hours. And of course, all the parts we wanted or anything. Jack Telnack gave me a bridge, a styling bridge. And we went to work on the SN95. And I'm very fortunate to have a man by the name of John Aiken do the styling work. I found John because I had heard that the man that designed the original Cougar was still with the company, which I think is a fantastic design. The 67 Cougar.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, to me, it's a timeless beauty. And I found that the man that designed that car, and he did one shot at it and went right to production. There was no changes. It was John Aiken.
Wow.
So I went to see Jack Telnack. I said, Jack, could I have John Aiken? He said, well, he works for Fritz Mayhew. He said, why don't you talk to Fritz and see? He said, you can have somebody, but he said, why don't you talk to Fritz? So I went to see Fritz. And Fritz said, yeah, he's still here. I said, what is he doing? He said, he's working on truck seats. I said, truck seats? What's a man of that kind of talent working on truck seats for? He said to me, he said, what do you want him for? I said, I'd like him to do a new Mustang we're working on. He said, no, you want some young guy. He said, he's beyond his prime. I said, that's okay. I said, anybody that's got talent to do that Cougar has got inherent talent, and he's the person who won. They gave him to me. So he did all the fundamental basic SN95 style work. Now, Bug Rigaldi came in later after we were approved, but all the covert work down to the Skunk Works was John Aiken. And there were other people notable that did really fantastic work in those early days. Ron Miccioli was another one. And he gets no credit publicly, but he did things that ordinarily could not be done. I mean, I don't know if you were aware of it, but we did that car for almost a third of what a new car would cost at the time, for the level of change that we did in CapEx, in investment.
Yep.
And Ron found ways to do things. He found ways to do things that no one had ever thought of. So I'm really indebted to him for the work that he did. He's very, very creative. Tony Kaduk is another one that was there early days.
We knew when we talked to Art Hyde, he said it was a miracle how that car, with just really the funding just wasn't there. The people would just come up with ingenious ideas, the engineering to get the thing done. He kind of credited it to the people that you put together, Ken, had so much passion to make this thing as good as you can. That Art said on the engineering of the SN95 was so many passionate people. And, by the time Ken got those 3 designs out and you picked one and ran with it, everybody was pretty excited, it seemed, at least inside the company, because outside, everybody was very nervous about what the next Mustang would be.
Yes, they were. And that group, we carefully interviewed every person on the Skunk Works. And if they were not passionate about Mustangs, They were not coming in. So that 6 people did all this work until we got, we got discovered. We put it that way. And then we had to do something different at that point. But
what's the old saying,
people,
Mike? I'm from corporate and I'm here to help you.
Yes.
I'm from the government. I'm here to help you. That's Ken. Ken probably didn't want any help at that time, but
this was a real skunk works. I mean, there was no discussion outside of our team of what we were doing, how much money we spent, which was very little. And it wasn't until management came down on us when we just couldn't hide it anymore.
how cool is that? So the car came out. I remember the long lead in Solvang. I went out there and met Coletti and Emmeline King and Magaldi and Will Body and and it was and I put it on the cover of Auto Week. We called it Warhorse because it was going up against the Camaro, and I liked the car, Mike. I'd driven many Fox bodies at Auto Week, and I thought this was it was a very good next step. I especially liked the design. The Fox was so wedge shaped and smooth sided, and to see SN95 have some of the protruding nose, the setback headlamps, that side scoop was back. So Ken, as a media person, I liked the car, but that was my last year in journalism. After that that car came out, I mean, I got an opportunity to go to SVT, and you talk about a skunk works. Those guys were a bunch of crazy cowboys under Coletti, and first with Janine Bay. And Mike, I think that really changed the direction that you and I, when we think about Mustang, if it weren't for what those guys did back then, if we did have a probe, the probe lasted, 7-8 years, and it's gone, we may be not having a Mustang Owners Club of Southeastern Michigan.
Absolutely. And we got to remember that car won Car of the Year.
That's right. The 94, won Car of the Year. In fact, one of the directors that you happen to know, does he still have the trophy?
Yep.
Mike Berardi, field surface. Oh, you got a trophy? Ken, listen. Yeah, you guys
That's awesome.
Mike, we have to have Ken not only come to the Moxa meeting and tell this story, but and what he shared tonight on the podcast. But Ken, when we have the big show, Mike, we're doing something special, being that I know that Ken also loves the Cougar and has a Cougar. You should see his Cougar. We got to get Ken to the Birds, Cats and Ponies homecoming on August 14th, right there in Dearborn, a couple of days before the Woodward Dream Cruise, where we're celebrating 70 years of the Thunderbird. And Mike, the Cougars are doing a reunion in Detroit? Is that it?
Yeah, Cougars are doing a reunion there as well. So yeah, it's going to be great, and I can't wait to see this Roush car of Ken's.
Well, why don't we, Ken? If you come, we're gonna ask a lot of the retirees. We'll get Magaldi and maybe Emmeline and Daryl Beamer and Doug Gafka, and we'll ask Lori Transu, who's the current chief engineer. We'll get Bob Akins, who did the SVO, and we'll try to get as many. We'd love to have you being part of that autograph session to come and meet all these people, bring the Cougars out, and hang out before the Dream Cruise. Because Mike, the day after that Dream Cruise, we've seen guys like Neil Ressler, Henry Ford III. We've seen Etzel come by. I know Mr. Farley's been down. That's the show to go to. Ken, we've got to have you there, because I think for too long, Mike, Ken Dabrowski has been, I know you're a business consultant, and Mike and I want to get in and ask you later how you become a consultant. That's our next move. After you have that career, but you've got to come to this, Ken. We've got to get, Mike, don't we have to get him into the hobby more closely than he's been?
Yeah, I think August is going to be a good month of connecting with Ken.
Well, I'm planning
Ken,
to go
can
to
we
the
send you all the invites and you look
headquarters.
at your schedule?
Yes.
Good. Ken, I will get your car parked in a special area, and John will be by where the Thunderbirds and Cougars and all that will be as well, so you can spend time with those guys as well.
Oh, the line to meet you, Ken, would be great. Just what you've done for Mustang and Ford, and I shared that with you when I saw you at Bay Harbor, how much I love the Cougar as well, a Mustang sister car, your Fox one of one what a pristine car. You've babied that thing. Plus your two Mustangs, the GTA.
I have another Mustang. I have an
Mike,
SN95
the
as
guy.
well. I have an SN95
Mike,
convertible.
the guy has all the Mustangs that we love. Ken, you are a kindred soul. Is there any way after you give a presentation at the MOXA meeting in September, we come out to the events in August, is there any way we can get you back on the podcast to trade more war stories with us?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Yeah, it's a part of life that was wonderful for me.
Yeah, it is.
When is
when
is the event?
having you.
The Cougar event, Mike? When is that? Is that the 14th? Did you say of August?
The 15th, and then I'm sorry, the 14th for the Birds, Cats, and Ponies, and then the 17th is the actual show.
Yeah, and the 14th is from noon to 4 p.m. at Gateway Classic Cars in Dearborn. That's where we're getting the Thunderbird 70, the Cougar reunion, and all the Mustangs from all the regional clubs to come down. It's at that beautiful Gateway Classic showroom. We're going to do an autograph session. Mike's got live music. And guess what, Ken? The band leader is a former SVT engineer, Ken Draper, and his group is called the Hot Wired. So we'll have a food truck. Come on down to get in this autograph line. We're going to give away some free posters. And then, of course, Saturday is Mustang Alley at Woodward. But Sunday's the day we celebrate, Mike, at the world headquarters for the Mustang Memories on All Ford show, hosted by Mike's club, Moxham. And Mike's done, this is his 20th year. And Ken, by having you there, Mike, that would really put an exclamation point on your 20-year career at Moxham.
Absolutely.
By the way, I think I'm booked for the 14th as well at the Classic Car Place, the Gateway. I'm scheduled. I'm in Dallas the day before that, for the 2 days before that. The 12th and 13th, I'm in Dallas, but I'm coming back the night of the 13th.
Perfect.
For that.
Even if we have you for just an hour to meet up with a bunch of other wonderful retirees we happen to know, Ken, it'd be great to get you back in the hobby. Oh, that's awesome. Mike, we just hit a home run with Ken Dabrowski.
One other point I'd like to make on the Skunk Works, of those 6 people, there was a 7th member, and I cannot remember the person's name. He was the president of the Mustang Owners Club. Met with us every week and helped guide the design. And I'll never forget, he said,
Jerry Ostalecki?
I just can't remember his name.
Yeah, I think Mike knows him. I think his name was it Jerry? Mike?
Was it Jerry Ostalecki?
I can't remember, Mike.
And he was president of Moxham.
He was president of the Dearborn-based Mustang Owners Club. And he met with us every week. And I remember him telling us that what the Mustang owners really want is a first-generation Mustang in modern clothing. Never forget, he said, that's what we want. If you give us that, he said, we're going to be very happy. And I told the team afterwards, I said, if we make the Mustang owners group happy, we're going to have a winner here. So we got to listen carefully to what they say. Yeah. And that's exactly what gave John Aiken the direction on the SN95, where the swoop came back. The cues on the car, there's no doubt as to what that is. It's a Mustang.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Mike, had you any idea, Mike, how closely that Ken had worked with the club, your club, to bring Mustang back to life? I mean, what a great way to have Moxham commemorate 50 years.
I can't wait to tell that story in September.
I can't wait when Ken comes and gives a presentation. Ken, we're going to have you back. We got to hear more about this. We loved having you on the podcast. I hope everybody out there enjoyed this time with you. We're looking forward to seeing you at the Moxham meeting. We're looking forward to seeing you at the Mustang homecoming with the that's true, cats and birds. They're in part of it as well. Plus the big show at World Headquarters in August, the day after the Dream Cruise. Ken Dabrowski, thank you so much for joining us tonight on the Mustang Owners Podcast. Well, Mikey, we can't do any better than that. That was an awesome one, folks. I hope you enjoyed your time with Ken. We're going to have a lot more from him. And until next time when we get to talk to him, we're going to have to just catch you guys down the road.